What's happening at the Dubois County Museum? Hello and welcome to 18WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining us in the studio is the director of the Dubois County Museum. Kind of new in your position as the director of the Dubois County Museum. This is Shirley Ray. Shirley, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are things going at the Dubois County Museum?
Very well. It's been a very busy couple months. I just started in January, so I'm getting kind of settled in and starting on new programs and grant writing and all that kind of fun beginning stuff.
Well, because you know it's a nonprofit organization, so you do need to apply for grants,
Indeed,
which
we do.
a lot of money can come in that way. But people can also make donations.
Yes, most of our funding comes from donations, memberships especially, as well as just charitable giving. And then we do rentals like warehousing and things like that helps bring in some money, as well as space rentals for events and programs and parties and stuff. So
you know, that's interesting you brought that up. So like, you mean like a meeting?
Yes,
what sort of rental?
We have 3 different spaces that can be used for rental. We have the main gallery around the log cabin can seat like up to 200 people. Then we have a banquet hall, which seats about 75 or so. And then we have a conference room, which is like 25 people.
The banquet hall and the conference room, those are like any other place, right? I mean, just a space, but the part that's in
a space with exhibits.
It does have exhibits in
the
it.
The banquet hall is our Hall of Fame exhibit. So there's a business Hall of Fame, and then we're adding new exhibits and rehanging some of our paintings and portraits and putting in some furniture displays and stuff like that. So it's a transitional space, but we use it for programming as well as rentals.
And so if somebody would like to rent the facility there, and these are mostly for smaller sort of things. You said 200 people?
You can fit up to 200. Okay. We've probably had 250 at our Breakfast with Santa, if I remember correctly about that. But
if somebody is interested in that, what do they do?
They just call the museum's main number or look on the website. There's information there as far as rentals. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you also talked about new programs, and one of the programs you're doing is a free night at the museum.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so this is our new effort to expand our hours. We're only open 10 to 2, Tuesday through Friday, and then Saturday most of the day. So at night, once a month, we're opening from 5:30 till 8 p.m. And most months that we're open, there's a special program on that free night. So our first one is the 25th of March, and that's the reptile show with Blake Beekline. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. So he's going to bring critters.
Okay,
and that's just an
that'll
example
continue
of how
every month.
Yes, every month a different event. We're doing some special exhibits and things like that, and some community gatherings. We might do a back-to-school thing in the fall.
So they just, I guess, for somebody to find out what that free night is going to be or what that special night is going to be, they should do what?
Check our website, the Dubois County Museum.
It's going to take you a while to get used to saying that. Sure.
I just like saying it, Dubois.
But the Dubois County Museum.
Yes, Dubois County Museum.
And we'll talk a little bit about the location. Some people may not realize really where the Dubois County Museum is. It's easy to get into.
Yeah, we're like right next to the subway on Newton Street, you know, on your way to all the restaurants and the shopping and that sort of stuff. So down from the brick company, it's pretty easy to find. I usually come through on Sheeter and right to Newton when I'm coming from out of town. So it's a nice location. It's a huge building, you know, 50,000 square feet of exhibits. So it's easy to overlook in a way. And we're working on our signage and adding more sort of banners and things to the building itself. But it's deceptively large in the sense of once you get inside.
Well, and it looks like a factory.
It does.
Because it was a factory.
It was a factory, yes.
Okay.
And we still have a lot of, you know, displays that are sort of related to the history of factories in the community and the whole business sector of the county, in addition to agricultural, zoological, et cetera. So
now, it is a huge museum,
it
really.
Is very massive.
I mean, it's a county museum.
It is.
That is, I think, probably competes with some larger museums.
Yeah, they say it's the largest. We say, because it's true, that we're the largest in Indiana, the largest county museum in Indiana, by physical space alone. Artifact-wise, we're right up there with some of the other facilities, too, that are in larger communities than our community. So,
is there more room?
We have a lot of room.
Yeah, you have, because that's a big building.
The whole building's 150,000 square feet, and we don't use all of it. And there are lots of plans in the works to, you know, go in a direction that may involve changing things around a little building-wise and stuff. So we have lots of opportunities that we could expand or renovate or change things out that we have and really build in more And we're adding displays all the time, and we're getting a lot of community groups to add displays as well. So it's a living, breathing entity in a way.
Well, what if I have an old barn and I go in there and I find something and I think, I don't really want to keep this. I'd like to make a donation to the museum. Do you accept things from people?
We do. We have a collections manager, Marianne Hayes, and she makes those decisions with her committee. Okay. So people can call or come in and meet with her, and she can schedule, around people and things like that, and see if we already have it in our collection, if it's unique. We don't accept everything, of course, but if it fits our mission and fits in our interpretation guide, then we do continually accept.
Now, last time I talked to you, I asked you about, what was like a little hidden treasure you think is there. Right. What is something else that you think when people go to the museum they won't expect to find in the Dubois County Museum?
I think the safari room, again, I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again because there's also some cultural items in there. And it's not just like mammals, but there's also birds and fish. And, for sportsmen and people who spend time hunting and spending time in the woods and things, you get to see different species that you wouldn't see here because they're collected from all over the world. So I would say exotic species is one thing that is not typically shown in museums of our size or in a county museum environment. So.
And one thing I think of when I go is, because you say Dubois.
Yes, I do.
It was the origin of Dubois County. Some people look at it and go, well, how do you get Dubois County when it's a German community?
Right.
And there's a place where that's explained.
Yes, the waves of immigration and the groups that came at different times. And we're working on upgrading our exhibits now, integrating the new waves of immigration. So we're looking to the Latino community to help us create an interpretive exhibit of their experience coming to this county and settling here and living here. So we're sort of doing the next wave of our immigration in that aspect as well, but to learn about when the Germans came and the Irish and the Scotch and all those people, that's on display now.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong. The county was, I guess, founded by Dubois.
It was. It was by
right?
Toussaint Dubois.
Toussaint. See, I said the back.
However, he never physically lived here.
Really?
So when the Germans sort of that wave of immigration came through, I think the name became anglicized.
Sure.
Dubois. And it's an Indiana tradition to change the pronunciation of names, especially the French ones.
Yes, like Versailles should be Versailles, Vivi should be Vive.
Well, and Vincennes is Vincent, really, but nobody pronounces it that way. No. Versailles for sure. And when I lived in Nebraska, I went to school out there, they pronounced a name, Beatrice was the name of the town. I would call it Beatrice, they called it Beatrice. So those fun local ways of pronunciation are always interesting to me.
And those are the things that when you go to the museum, you take away and discuss with people. The museum is not so much about going and seeing the buffalo and then walking and seeing the crimp cabinets, which is really cool. And a little story about the disposal.
Yeah.
You'll have to go to the museum to see it. But it's really what you take away, and at some other opportunity, you're at a family gathering, you're at a wedding, and somebody says something, it makes you think of something you saw at the museum.
Definitely. And just seeing the objects, again, like the scale, the scope of the objects. And we have this amazing wine press that when you read about it in the newspaper article that was written about the wine press, you kind of get a visual, but then you're standing in front of it, and they're explaining in the article about how they had to remove a beam out of the barn to remove the wine press from the barn. And so you're looking at, obviously, because it's massive.
Huge. Yes.
And the stories associated with that particular object are just fascinating. So not only sort of seeing the object, but learning more about it, and then, as you said, talking to your friends and family about what you experienced.
So the best
really
thing to do is to go to the Dubois County Museum, which is here for the residents of Dubois County and Indiana, or really visitors
from anywhere.
Yeah, when they come to Jasper, say what's there to do. Take them to the Dubois County Museum.
Yes, and we're looking forward to a summer visitation of some. That's typically where we get our out of county traffic.
Sure. So. Well, Shirley, thank you very much for coming. Anything else that you want to add?
I think that's good for now.
Okay, just watch for the free night at the museum. It changes every month, once a month. So kind of stay up to date with their website and find out. Do you have a Facebook page?
We do.
Okay, so that's another way maybe to
Yes,
to go that
and we
way.
have a Twitter. So we've got a very energetic volunteer doing the Twitter, and he's always posting.
Perfect.
As soon as he pulls it off of the Facebook mostly, but we're going to add more to our Twitter as far as artifact stories.
Okay.
So.
Well, Shirley, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching WJTS in.form. I hope to see you at the Dubois County Museum.